so we can start chatting.
Do you want to move a little
Sure.
closer to me? Let's just make sure that your face is not cut off.
There we go. What pretty lighting.
That's very good.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to Momjo Live. You might be a little thrown off today because we have daylight.
Yes, beautiful natural light. But we absolutely couldn't wait one more minute to get this recorded before she leaves because we have the most amazing special guest with us today.
Hi.
This is Renee.
Yes, Renee. It's so nice to finally meet you. We
It's so
couldn't
nice.
wait. And we were just talking about the fact that today was it felt like perfect timing, right?
Such perfect timing since we've been trying to make this happen for months. I think.
Months.
But yeah, it is so timely since what we've been through this last weekend, a little bit together, a little bit apart, but watching you and rooting you on all the way.
Thank you. No, it was quite an awesome moment meeting Ellen, getting the shout out, which was the cherry on top.
We want all the details and we're going to get to that very soon. But for those who don't know Renee, you know what? We could introduce you. We could tell people who you are, but I'm sure you can do it best. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Renee. I'm from Toronto. My handle is, my blog is My So-Called Mommy Life. My handle on social media is MSC Mommy Life. Started a blog when my daughter was 8 months old because I had so much free time while she napped.
Right.
And my blog started just as baby gear was really expensive and I was looking for a place to put all the information that I was looking for. So, when it came to a stroller, paying $1,000 for a stroller, that's a big investment.
Right.
So I did a lot of research on where to get the best hair bows online.
Very important.
It was.
You are doing the work for all moms out there.
And so someone one day said, start a blog. And I read blogs, but I never really thought of myself as I could do that. And I did. And within 4 months, P&G contacted me and said, we are starting a mom blogger program, the first one in Canada for P&G. We love you. We're taking a mix of bloggers who have been doing this for a while and new and up and coming bloggers, and we love you. And that really changed the course of everything.
So how long has it been now?
It'll be 7 years in May.
Oh, wow.
That's like another child of
Yeah,
yours.
you've been at this for a long time. That's
For a
amazing.
long time. And so I chronicled my daughter as a baby, and then my son being born. And then when he was 1.5 years, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I came out to everyone on my blog. That's how I felt very strongly that I wanted the information coming from me instead of through broken telephone. We have a large friend base and, I have followers. And my first chemo was on April Fool's Day.
Oh, that's no joke.
Yeah, no joke. And I was actually diagnosed on Friday the 13th.
Wow.
So
Those dates and those numbers.
Yeah.
right. So my whole kind of cancer career, I don't even know what you call it. Journey experience. I usually call it an experience. All the dates match up in a really bizarre, weird way.
Strange.
It's really weird. And so anyways, on April 1st, 2015, I came out, shared my story with everyone, and then I started kind of chronicling parenting through cancer and having 2 little kids and organizations that we were connected to. And, a post that got a lot of traction was things not to say to a woman with breast cancer.
Interesting.
Because it's very easy. And then there was a follow-up post on what to say.
Great, for sure. So based on that, you've been at this for years, right? You've been living with cancer and parenting through cancer for years. How do things change once you face a diagnosis like that, in terms of your perspective of life and the way you raise your children?
So it's actually interesting. I should go back and say, I went through 9 months of treatment and was told by my physicians to go live your life.
Okay.
After the 9 months, and then my cancer returned in October 2017, And at that time I received the terminal diagnosis because it is spread elsewhere in my body. So I think parenting with cancer, if I look at like the first time,
Right.
it was very much like, okay, there's an end. Like,
Right.
it's difficult when you're, you know, there was an end. It's like, okay, it's going to be difficult for 9 months.
Right,
and
right.
there's an end because my treatment's ending. I was told I was okay. It's very difficult when you're in treatment, especially chemo,
Yes.
where I missed days of my kids' lives, like days, because it would knock me out. It would make me sick. And now with the way medicine is, they give you medication so that chemo doesn't make you sick, but
Right.
that medication has side effects.
Oh, wow.
So I would sleep for 2 days, you know, post chemo, and my mom would sleep on the couch with me, and my kids were in daycare, and my mom and my husband would take care of them, and then my mom would come and take care of me. And really during that time, it was just those moments when I was able to be with my kids were really precious. So that's, again, going back to Ellen. My daughter would come home from daycare and we would lie in bed together, and she was 3.5, and we would watch Ellen on the like in bed. And that was like a nice moment for us. Now with a terminal diagnosis, it's a little more challenging because no one knows how much time you have.
Right.
No one knows. But when you have a terminal diagnosis, it's in your face a lot more than the regular person.
Right.
So it's very often, I feel like I can spoil them because I'm able to, because I'm here.
Right.
But then at the same point, I don't want to spoil them.
Right.
And then sometimes I feel like I'm too hard on them because I want to make sure that like they know their manners, and maybe, you know, what if I'm not here in 2 years, and I want to make sure they know X, Y, and Z. Or, you know, sometimes I'll catch myself and we'll be driving and I'm like lecturing them about something of importance in life, and then one of them will be like, can you stop now with your mom music?
But you're parenting super intensely and super intently.
Right. With the opposite of where it's like, let's go to Indigo and blow $100
Right.
because I'm able to. Like, so it's, I catch myself.
So how do you find yourself sort of forgiving yourself for some of the stuff that you might be too hard on versus like just, you know, trying to get everything into them that you want to leave with them?
I'm sure it's confusing for them.
But I listen to you and I can relate in different ways, obviously, because I think as a mom and as a parent, we all think like sometimes when we're screaming at our kids, or maybe you don't raise your voice, and well done for you. When you're shouting at your kids, I know sometimes that I'm being too harsh.
Right.
Or maybe sometimes I think, oh, you know, I should have had that moment. I should have done this. You're constantly criticizing your parenting.
Right.
So it sounds like you're in the same.
No, for sure. And it's a hard balance, right? Like my daughter had a meltdown this morning and I yelled at her, and I yell. And, you know, last week she told me I was screamable. And
Screamable.
I was lovable, huggable, and screamable.
Unscreamable. That is so adorable.
Can you move a little closer to us?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so I think it's in those moments where I do catch myself, I apologize. Right? And it's like this morning, it was like, you know, I'm sorry, I screamed at you, let's start the day again.
Wow.
And she'll say the same thing, like, let's start over again.
That is the best thing you can teach your children.
Right.
If
Like-
they see a mom who has the ability to say sorry, to recognize their own faults, they're going to learn that it's perfectly human to feel that way too.
Absolutely.
Right. And we're all human, right? We all make mistakes in the moment, you know, lose your temper, threaten to take away play dates. I do it.
Oh yeah. You're not going to that birthday party, Bobby. You're not going.
Right? So I think, you know, in the moment, I'm sure it must be confusing for them sometimes because, you know, it's like, sure, you can buy whatever you wanted Indigo today. And then the next day it's like, no, we're here for a birthday present for your friend and you're not getting anything.
It's all about balance.
Isn't it the worst when you go buy birthday gifts with your children?
Never do
I mean, like, why do we even think it's a good idea? Seriously.
It's not.
It always
horrible.
ends up with a kid on the floor crying their heads out.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, could you please tell us about one of the things that we really admire about your process, and that is your whole bucket list concept.
Yes, the bucket list.
The bucket list. So I guess when I got this terminal diagnosis, a lot of stuff changed in our life. So we owned a house. It was an older house. And my husband and I really looked at our life and what we could and couldn't do because I would no longer be working. And I think that's also a big misconception. When people have cancer, they don't work. When you lose an entire salary, people's lives are based on, 1 or 2 salaries. And when we bought our house, it was 2 salaries.
Right.
You take out a whole salary and it's like, okay, we could have our house, we could fix it up, or we could sell our house, move. We ended up buying a condo. We renovated it. We gutted the whole thing exactly how we wanted it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
We love watching the process.
Right. Thank you.
It's so interesting because we've seen that flip side, but I didn't know you had moved. And it's just so beautiful. You're creating such an amazing space.
And we gave ourselves a budget to do trips and make memories and do things that we want to do.
So did you sat down and you made a conscious choice to make these decisions and plan out?
Yes.
Amazing.
When I got when I was re-diagnosed in October 2017, we didn't actually come out and tell anyone publicly for a year.
Wow.
Because it was very important to us to kind of get all our ducks in a row.
That is so smart.
You know what? Everyone does it differently. And my choice might not work for someone else, and that's okay. And everyone's going to handle these life situations their own way. But yeah, my husband and I kind of said, okay, we have an older house, we could live here and put all our money into this house, or I want to take the kids to Disney, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to do all these things, and now we have less stress. And a lot of it was taking away the burden and the stress of my husband and all of us. We didn't have to shovel in these snowstorms.
Of course.
That's huge. We clean out a car when I take the kids to school. It's easy.
Talk to me about the husband's role in all of this. I mean, he's been through the ups and downs of, like you say, your cancer career.
Yeah.
How important is he?
He's support? Great. Hi.
Hi, hubby.
No, he's super supportive, and we have amazingly supportive friends and family. Obviously it's stressful for him because he has to work, and then I have doctor's appointments, but I'm kind of at a stage right now where I'm able to go to the doctor by myself if he's not available, but it definitely is very stressful, right? We were living with my family for almost a year, my parents for almost a year. We were unsettled,
right?
We go up north for the summer, so it really wasn't until January when we finally moved into our condo and we're settled. And it's
this January?
That's a good feeling.
Oh, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been good. No, I think, any caregiver of someone who's sick, I'm speaking for him here, it's stressful because nobody knows what is going to happen.
Right.
Look, we hope I will live for 1,000,000 years. Nobody knows. The physicians don't know. Nobody knows how long my medicine's going to work for.
Another part of it that I find interesting watching you on Insta stories, and if you don't follow her on Instagram, on Facebook, you need to. MSC Mommy Life.
Yep.
Right? When I watch you on Insta stories, I find it so fascinating because obviously you're not sharing absolutely everything, but you have a cheery disposition and you just get on with it, and you are positive, and the trips that you're taking, the things you're doing, you're putting such a positive spin on everything. And it is, I don't even know the words to describe it to you because I know people are saying this to you left, right, and center, but we are totally inspired, and
thank you.
It's admirable.
Well, you actually put, life into perspective for so many people, and the way you do it is just so courageous and so beautiful and generous in terms of what you share. Let's dig a little deep though and talk about, that diagnosis, that terminal diagnosis, and I'm just going to put it out there, and I know it's a raw question to ask, But what does it feel like when a doctor comes and tells you that?
Okay, that moment, you think your life is over, is really what it is. My oncologist screwed up and he let his resident deliver the news.
Oh yeah, I've got cold shivers.
I obviously have a history with my oncologist. The hospital I'm at has an online portal, and I made it very clear, and this was a new kind of technology at the time, that after this test, I would not be checking the online portal. The resident made the assumption that I read the online portal and walked in and said, so it's metastatic cancer. And my husband and I are sitting there, and to me, I was like, what? And she's like, you didn't read the portal? And I said, no, I didn't read the portal.
Yeah.
And then she kind of had to backtrack. And then I'm sitting there hysterical. My husband's like comforting me. She goes and gets my oncologist, who comes in, who then has to like backtrack what happened. But at that point, all I'm literally hearing is like, I'm seeing their mouth move, and it's like, I'm not hearing anything, because all I'm thinking of is my kids. They're, 6 and 4 at this time. I'm dying. And that's immediately what you think about. So that week, I can't remember it was Wednesday maybe. It was very dark, because at that time they didn't know where it spread. They knew it spread, but they didn't know, was it attached to an organ? When it's attached to an organ, there's different protocols. Did it spread, when breast cancer spreads, it spreads to bones, brains, lungs, liver. So no one knew where was it?
Oh, so you didn't have the full picture, but you had enough of a
So
picture.
they knew it spread to parts of my bones, but then they didn't know if organs were involved. And that, thankfully it's in my bones, and it's, as they say, the best of the worst case scenario, which, it's...
So are you still having treatment?
Yeah, so I will be in treatment forever.
Okay.
How it works is, it's actually, I will be in treatment forever. So you're on a treatment until the treatment stops working.
Is it pills right now?
So I'm on an oral chemotherapy.
Okay.
I had to fight the insurance company to cover it.
Oh yeah. We did talk about that.
Yeah, which was insane, because when you get chemo in a hospital, it's covered. The second you take chemo home, it's not covered.
You're talking about OHIP?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about
Private
insurance?
So my chemo at the hospital was through OHIP.
Okay.
And private insurance would not cover the take-home chemo pill.
Wow.
So I fought the insurance company, the private insurance company, and I got it covered for 12 months. Nothing changed within that 12 months, yet they still chose to stop covering it.
Wow.
And they didn't care. Luckily, Pfizer, thank God for, and I've been very vocal about this, a lot of people knock brands, medication brands.
And pharmaceuticals.
Thank you, pharmaceutical companies. That was the word I was looking for. And they do a lot of good things. And I think a lot of people just think they want your money. And they put me on a compassionate program that doesn't exist anymore. And they found it out of the goodness of their hearts to cover me for as long as I need this medicine.
Oh, that is absolutely incredible.
Because otherwise it's over $6,000 a month.
You're so right. Everybody's so skeptical with pharmaceuticals. And of course, they make a shit ton of money. But the fact that they have programs like this, that they see a need and they don't even just
and they
just
do
put it out there.
And
fantastic.
they do good things.
That's wonderful.
And so I'm on that. I'm on a bunch of other kind of medications, and I get scanned every few months, and you stay on it until you have progression, and then they switch it up. But unfortunately, with the way that money, how it gets funneled into breast cancer, very little money is actually going towards finding a cure. which is, it's called pink washing.
Interesting.
Washing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's the pink for everything, right?
Right. So, you know, people think, okay, I'm buying the toilet paper because there's a pink ribbon on it. Maybe 1 penny is going towards breast cancer. It's really, this pink washing has become a whole industry now. You know, buy these pink shoelaces, support breast cancer. Well,
Right.
if you actually look, 2 cents
Oh.
is going to breast cancer. And then a lot of that money isn't even going into research.
Wow.
So there's very few organizations who put their money into research to find a cure.
How can it not be a priority? Breast cancer is, I mean,
So
affecting
prevalent.
lives, destroying lives. I mean, how is that not a priority for the medical community and the research community?
And it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And when I was diagnosed the first time, this wasn't even on my radar because it was like, you follow this protocol,
Right.
you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine. And I was. And then you don't realize until, you know, you get this terminal diagnosis, well, there's a handful of medications. And once those medications run out,
Then
what are my choices?
How are you feeling now?
I feel great.
That's
Awesome.
good.
Like,
Wow.
that was going to be my next question as well, because every day when I watch you,
Yeah.
and now we're seeing
Yeah.
you, I wouldn't have guessed, not for a second.
No.
You're so vibrant and full of life, and you look perfect. It's
So-
fascinating.
I will say this, I hope you don't mind. It's mindfuck. It's really
It's a mindfuck.
Right?
it really is, because, you know, I'm living with this terminal diagnosis. I feel great. Sure, do I wake up some days and like my hip hurts when I like, you know, get up. Sometimes my bones are stiff when I wake up in the morning. But really overall, like, I feel great.
That is so good to hear.
long may it
My
last.
scans, so I just finished my 15th round of chemotherapy, oral chemotherapy. I'm doing great. My scans have all been stable. Since the day I started the oral chemo, usually you have to do some adjustments with the amount of medication. I've had 0 adjustments. My body has done really well. I did have 10 rounds of palliative radiation prior to starting the chemo, because that's how we found out my cancer came back, is that I was having some pain in my lower back and in my thigh.
Right.
And I just thought it was from the bad beds at the cottage. And it wasn't. So since I've had that palliative radiation, I've had really 0 pain,
Amazing.
which is incredible. And same thing, palliative radiation isn't meant to take it away. It's just to ease the symptoms.
Right.
And with that, they don't expect it to last for years. And I don't like saying this because I don't want to jinx myself,
Right.
but I've been incredibly, incredibly lucky.
Wow. Yeah.
Speechless. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, you just walked us through what it was like to get the diagnosis. And you've, I mean, I have no words, but you've picked up the pieces in many, many ways. And the image that you're projecting nowadays, the way we see you, the way your followers see you, like Liat was saying, is positive. It's vibrant. So what did it take for you to go from that really dark moment months ago to where you're at today?
So I think even the first time I had cancer, it was very much that, yes, you're going to have dark days and you're going to have dark moments. But, you know, my grandmother, who's 97,
Wow.
which is amazing, she always has said my entire life, if you don't laugh about it, you're going to cry. And so that has kind of always played into my head that, you know, if I'm actually just going to sit and think about my situation, I don't think I'd ever leave the couch or my house. Like, I think I would just literally sit and cry about it. But going back to it, nobody knows how much time you have. And why would I waste my time crying?
Oh,
Because what use is that?
what use is that?
So look, I think, and I've said this before, it is very easy to wake up and be negative. It takes energy to be positive. I'm not
Absolutely.
saying this is easy every morning, because, you know, some mornings you get up and it's just not my morning yet. and I have a coffee
No,
and a big one.
Massive one.
As my kids say, I'm very nice with my coffee. But I think, you know, nobody knows. And there's a lot that I still want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important to me. And it's important to me, you know, to make memories with my kids and my husband and my friends and my family, that it would be easy for me just to lie in bed.
Absolutely. So what is next on the bucket list?
So we're off to Mexico this
Yes,
weekend for the week for
nice.
March break, which is great.
Escaping this horrible cold. You
Couldn't be a
deserve
better
it.
week.
Yes.
What, you don't want to stay in the snow?
What? Enough of
No
winter.
angels all week long? No.
No.
Okay,
No.
so Mexico.
So Mexico, I actually have a list. So I have an actual running list, and I have my bucket list, and then my completed bucket list items.
Amazing.
So that's awesome. Going to all the tennis tournaments, the majors. So last summer, at the end of the summer, we went to the US Open with my husband and my kids, and that was awesome.
Incredible.
And so hopefully I'll be crossing off the French Open.
Nice.
Wow.
Because one of my best friends, Sophie, is from France, and I'm meeting her in Paris the end of May, beginning of June.
Amazing.
So hopefully we're crossing that off. What else is on my bucket list? Well, being on Ellen.
Yeah.
So this is...
Yes.
We're going to have to get to this.
Yeah. I feel like we are getting to it. Let's talk about this.
Okay. I love Ellen. I think she's amazing. I've been following her talk show forever, and she's really just such a positive, bright light. And I think, you know, if we're looking at people who inspire me, I think she's one of them. Every day she has the power, and I think this really I found so amazing in her show on Sunday is that she has given away $97 million
Insane. We were
No.
shocked.
Yeah.
in prizes. And when you think about $97 million, the power that she has had to change people's lives
Yes.
is like, it makes me speechless. So I can't imagine what it does to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so meeting Ellen was on my bucket list, and I put it out there when I found out she was coming to Toronto. And not only did I get to meet her in a meet and greet, but I actually had a moment. And it wasn't just a hi, hello. We locked eyes. We were kind of like embraced.
Those
and
beautiful eyes of hers.
it was amazing. And, you know, I think there's very few moments when you actually are connected with someone and everything else is blocked out. And you're engaged. And that's really how I felt speaking with Ellen. And then later on, she mentioned me in the show. And that to me it was a cherry on top. And it's, you know, it's one thing to meet someone, but then it's another when you admire them so much and you make an impact on them that they are able to remember you and give me that little shout out. And she said she loves me, and I love you too, Ellen.
She was thinking of you, right? Remind people of
Right.
it. Yeah, she said she loved you.
Yeah, and so she's, I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was something like how, when you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
And so she had said, you know, I think about Lisa Jarman. And Lisa Jarman was a woman in the audience at the Ellen show years ago, I think in 2010. And Ellen just felt her energy from the audience, which is unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah, and she was an audience member, and Ellen felt her energy. And Ellen invited her back to the show and changed her life, bought her a car, bought her a house. You know, everyone else would have looked at Lisa and said, you know, she's poor, she has nothing, but she didn't consider herself poor. She said she had everything she had, and she had a great attitude. And Ellen was able to feel her energy and make changes to her life. And she was diagnosed also with breast cancer, I think in this fall, and passed away very quickly.
Wow.
It was very short. And so Ellen mentioned Lisa and then said, you know, I met someone earlier who has terminal cancer as well, and she's here in the audience, and meeting me was on her bucket list.
Yeah.
And wherever you are in the audience, I love you. And at
my
that
heart.
moment,
Oh, we were at the show before, but had
we
we been
missed
at that
that
show,
moment.
we would have like, oh, that's incredible.
it was amazing. And, you know, I had friends and family and followers in the audience, and my phone, it took a minute, and I remember my sister was sitting beside me, and I was like, she's talking about me. Like, Ellen, me, like it was unreal.
So special.
Yeah.
So yeah, next is the show.
So I would love to be on the Ellen show.
Put it out there.
Anybody out there listening to this today, we are hooking her up somehow.
You got to create the meme. You got to
Yes,
put the meme
yeah,
out
I
there
need
for the
to.
show. Yeah.
And Ellen talked a lot about manifesting your life and really looking at your life and seeing, there's no barriers. Age is no barrier. Your current situation should not be a barrier to what you can do. And I think her advice is amazing for everyone. And, and I think I also relate to her in the coming out aspect because I kept my terminal diagnosis a secret for a year.
Right.
And then I called it my coming out.
Right.
Like when I decided to share the news. Because just like her, I would go out for dinner with friends and they'd be like, so how's everything? Great. And then in my head, I'm like, I'm lying. I'm lying flat out to someone who I love, but it just was not the right time.
Yeah.
But finally, I guess, embracing your truth probably felt very liberating too.
It did. And very liberating to my husband. Because we both were living, I don't want to say a lie, but a large part of our life was a secret.
Yeah.
And so for both of us, it was liberating. But so scary because as the first time I felt the news had to come from me. I didn't want it to be a broken telephone. I didn't want it to be he said, she said. I wanted the news to come from me. And it's crazy because you're right. When you look at me, no one knows. Why would you know? When I had radiation on one of my hips, I was limping for a few days. I didn't go to the house that day.
Right.
Nobody saw me, so no one would know. So there's lots of little things that, a great quote is, what's the quote? You never know, be nice to everyone because you don't know what they're going through or something.
Yeah, totally.
Something like that. And that I think really resonates. You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yes.
When your friends and family found out what you were going through, did they still talk to you the same? Did they still treat you the same? I always wonder about that, right?
Yes. So I'm in therapy. I have a great therapist. And we were talking about this for months because I wanted to share the news. I didn't know how I wanted to share the news or when. And so it was something that we were working through for months. And when I was talking with her about it, and I said, I think I'm ready to come out, and I think the best way would be a blog post about it, and this way it gets shared to everyone. People can send it to people, and it's my words. And she had actually suggested give people a direction. Everyone is going to want to help you. Give them a direction.
That's smart.
So the two things in my post were not to talk about it in front of my kids, because that was really important to me. So my kids knew prior, but it was very important that their life stayed the same.
Right.
And I didn't want it to be that another parent was talking to me and my kids or their kids are standing there, and then, I'm known as, oh, that mom with cancer, poor little kids, your mom's sick. So that was the first directive. And then the second directive was I wanted to be treated the same. And because that was really important to me. That if we still go for dinner, let's still go for dinner. If we do something, let's still do it. I want you to call me. I want you to text me. I don't want it to be treated as that cancer girl. And I don't want that special I just want to be treated like me.
Like if we're going to cancel a coffee date, we just cancel the coffee date.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I don't want it, sure, with if you're sick, I don't want to see you. But, within reason, I don't want my life changing.
Right.
And that was really important to me.
Yes.
And thankfully, I'm loved by so many people. And everyone treats me the same. I don't feel
amazing
any different treatment from people. I even wrote in the post, if you've never talked to me before, don't start talking to me.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. And I think it's very relieving for people that have read it.
Right.
I need to now read it because I'm curious how you worded it.
I don't want to be pitied, is what I said.
Yes, but I think that's relieving, and I think it's very smart to give directives, right?
Yeah.
So that people then know what is kind of expected and how they should approach it.
Yep. So it's, we have quite a large family and friend network and my follower base, and I'm just constantly the recipient of so much love. And from both times when I was diagnosed, it's very overwhelming because it's so much love, and I know other people have the opposite, where people run away and they're deserted by their loved ones when they have cancer because they don't know, their loved ones don't know how to react.
Right.
And I've had the complete opposite, where it's like, I'm so loved, and people that I've met from university message me, I'm thinking about you, or people's, I'm always like, do you want to have a coffee date? And I will go and have a coffee date with anyone.
That's so great. Well, the people that we've met along the way, that somehow your name pops up, it is always the same comment. She's so amazing. She's so awesome. I haven't met Renee. She's so so it's clear that it resonates with everyone. That you got a lot of love, girl.
I do. I'm very lucky. That's one thing I think in these difficult times, it's such a nice feeling to have so much love. And I think that also helps pick me up and kind of keep me through going through everything. But I do have this like weird superpower,
Okay.
I like to call it.
Do tell.
Where I'm able to compartmentalize my cancer. And it's very weird, and I don't know how I'm able to do this. But let's say like I have a doctor's appointment on Friday. I'm not worrying about that doctor's appointment today. I go to the hospital, I do what I need to do, I get out, and then I'm like, cancer is done.
Wow. I think that's a fantastic lesson for any aspect of your life that is challenging or different, from the norm, let's say, to learn to do that, because that is an amazing skill.
And I don't know how, it's just, I don't know. I don't
Have
know
you
how
always been like this with challenging situations?
I guess so. Like, I think I have more that positive, upbeat attitude, and it's kind of like, okay, let's just get through it.
Yeah.
And same with cancer. The first time it was like, okay, this is going to be crazy, but like, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Right.
Look, I think the reality is I don't sit and wallow about it, because if I did, I don't think I would ever leave my couch. I don't. I think, sure, I get sad sometimes, mostly when I think about, my kids and their future. And I think for me, now I'm going to get sad. When I was growing up, there was a girl in our neighborhood who her mom passed away. And I remember feeling so sad for her. And now when I was re-diagnosed, I was like, that could be my kids.
Yeah.
And so, I don't try and think like, of their wedding. So it's more like little things, like let's get to a birthday, let's get to a dance recital, let's get to whatever it is, let's get to a vacation. And though I think when they're smaller, more tangible, you don't get lost in the bigger picture, because the bigger picture is what's really scary.
Yeah.
When you think about that.
It's like you've been forced into mindfulness, right?
She took the words out of my mouth. It's the same thought, because everyone is on this trend and hype about being mindful and intentional and in the moment, and unfortunate circumstances, but you are mastering it. And that's the thing that your kids and your husband and you can know that you've really, really lived the most amazing
squeezing
time
the
together.
shit out of that lemon, right? You're taking that lemon and like, ugh.
I want to come to Mexico with you.
But it's funny because like I remember Disneyland, we were supposed to go 2 other times with my kids, and those 2 times were around the time that I got diagnosed, the first time and the second time, so it didn't happen. Disney was really the number one. It was like both times I was diagnosed, it was like, I just need to take them to Disney. And then when I crossed it off, my husband's like, why are you putting something else on? And I was like, no, because the list keeps going.
Yeah,
like
right.
I replaced Disney with an Alaskan cruise. Like, you know, you need to kind of just keep putting it out there. And, you know, I think also the difference is, and I think about this a lot, when I'm not like everyone else who's diagnosed with a terminal illness, because I have a terminal illness, yet I'm okay.
Right.
Oftentimes when you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, you are not okay.
Right.
You don't have time to travel. You don't have time to get through your bucket list. And I think this is important for everyone. You know, take my advice.
Tell us.
Go and do what you want to do now. Don't wait and say, when I'm retired, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I think you need to prioritize, you know, make a list and start working through it now, because nobody knows. Like, look at Luke Perry. He thought like everyone wanted him to do this reboot. He wasn't signed up yet, but I'm sure it was coming. And he has a massive stroke at 52 in good health.
That's it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And so what if he was waiting to do all his bucket list items once he retired? Like, that's really sad. And I think I'm in a way given a gift that not a lot of people are given, because I'm okay now to do these things, because a person, when they're diagnosed with a terminal illness, cannot do these things.
Oh, that's true. Mama, I mean, you say Ellen is a bright light. I think we can both agree that you are.
Thank you.
We just,
beaming.
We don't want to let you go
Beaming
out
light.
of this house today. We just want to like chill with you all day long. Thank you.
Thank you.
For your time and for your energy and for everything that you're putting out every single day. Again, if you are not following, what are you wasting your time on?
Do it. Yes, do it. MSC Mommy Life.
MSC
right?
Mommy Life.
And the blog itself is called
mysocalledmommylife.com.
Okay, amazing. And we know that you're trying to get to 10,000 followers
Yes.
on. So are we.
I know.
Let's travel this path together.
What can we do together? We should think about something we could do together to like rally for Momjo and Renee.
We just want
as
this
always.
swipe up feature, guys.
Yes.
It makes our life so much
It's just
easier.
like, is it on the bucket list?
So we can
Swipe
share
up.
our content with you a little easier.
You know, it would make a difference. It really would. So yeah, let's help Renee get there to 10,000 followers on Instagram, but really just follow along her journey, because even if you pick up just a percentage of her positivity and her attitude, you are on the right track.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
this was
you.
great.
We love you. Thank you
And
for
I
your
love you
time
too.
today. And if you guys enjoyed this video, I know you're watching. This is a pre-recorded show because we're all going away on trips. So please feel free to share this video. Leave us your comments. Tell us what you thought about this conversation. Leave your love for Renee. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a nice week.
We'd love to hear what's on your bucket list.
Yeah, let me know, guys. I'd love to know.
Bye.
Bye.